Hey, howdy. One more round of momentum modding before I call it quits. I kind of just want to do... This might be a shorter video, but I want to do some of the beta maps. So I guess... Let's start with Beefness, and then I can do some of the B-hop maps, like, in the interim. It would feel kind of weird to start with one. But yeah. I know it's been a minute. I apologize for that. It's a very funny segue. Oop. Okay, I'm just gonna reset that. I can absolutely do that faster. It's a very funny segue to go straight from, it's been a while, I've been working, I've been going to therapy, that's been interesting. Not necessarily elucidating new things about myself, but definitely, like, helping me to confront the things that were already there, right? It's weird to describe. Like, therapy is good for if you want someone to just, I mean, open up to. Like, that's kind of, that makes sense, but, like, usually I am such a, like, I'm such an open person. Like, you know how I talk in these. But I try my best to be as open as possible, barring a few select things that I keep under lock and key. You know the deal. Everyone has things that everyone has things that they're willing to open up about, and things that you could not get out of them with torture. Kind of a similar deal with me. But for a while, I bristled at the idea of therapy just because, I mean, A, it costs a lot of money, but also because, like, even if I were to, come on, one decent attempt. Even if I were to go, it's, my thought process was, like, I open up to my friends already. Like, what exactly would I gain from therapy that I wouldn't be able to do just by talking with friends? And frankly, the answer is confidentiality. Having an ear to listen that stays between you and them, it allows you to be a lot more honest, genuinely. Because part of the shtick with, therapy is that it is, like, it must be non-judgmental. Or it should be non-judgmental. And I'm slowly realizing that when it comes to people that I talk with regularly, I have a fear of being perceived, which is, from what I understand, is a fairly common thing. But that's been interesting to come to grips with while talking with someone who is, like, exists in their own little bubble. And it's a combination of that and also, like, realizing that I'm trans and, like, kind of coming to grips with what that means for my future. Because that's something else about therapy is, of course, if it's confidential, then if there's something like that comes out, then, I'm not going to say it's not going to negatively affect you because, like, we're living in the 21st century here. Ooh, hello. I'm not going to say that I am Teflon and I can just go and tell anyone, but, it is not quite as scary a prospect as it was, especially because I know places where I can find people who are like me, which is the most important thing. It's like, I can open up and find like, like-minded individuals, and not worry about getting fired from my job because of it. So that'll be interesting too. I guess I need to find better ways to phrase this stuff, because every time I describe this, my personal journey, it always sounds like I'm conducting experiments. It's like this... It'll be very interesting. Or, like, I'm excited to see how it works out. Because, like, there's not much else I can really say. Without it sounding really awkward. Like, oh, I love browsing Tumblr. I'm excited to have boobs. Like, that's all kind of, like, brewing in the background. But the bottom line is, like, it's just fun, and it's interesting. And it gives me a very unique perspective on a lot of things. If just because, like, now that I'm in this situation, I have the ability to critique basically every facet of my life all in once. Because I have something that most people... Or I have, like, something that I do not take for granted that so many other people take for granted. And because of that, it allows me to view life in a completely different way. Because that assumption falls away. Where is... Oh, it's in here. Not my finest. Paricchio I want to try. This one is an incredibly old map, to my understanding. Sure feels like it. There's a jump coming up that feels very dated. Damn it. There's a jump coming up that feels extremely dated, and you'll know it when you see it. Because it is something that only these old maps do. Yep, it's this jump. It's this jump. This jump sucks. Oh my god, I got it. Cool. That jump can take ages. I'm genuinely wondering how you get these jumps in par. Because this is par 1. And, how? Was this supposed to be a conch map or something? Like, trying to think of a way to do this with one rocket. I don't think you can. Oh my god, I beat my time. Somehow. Crazy. Bolt. Okay, this is a map that I've been excited for. This is, like, actually a really good tier 1 map, which is rare. The description says something about how, like, there aren't really that many good tier 1 maps except for Jump Rush, which is old enough to pay taxes. But this map does a pretty good job at it. Like, being simple enough, being dead simple, but also being, like, palatable. You can still do, like, speed tech. It's just a relatively easy map otherwise. It's not one of those maps where it is either mind-numbingly easy... Oh my god, that edge bug was crazy. It's not one of those maps that is either mind-numbingly easy or really, really easy if you take the fast route. That's a complaint that I have with a few of these maps, is that they're very clearly designed to be speed maps, and if you don't play them like a speed map, they're just kind of bland and difficult. But the jumps themselves are not interesting. The challenging part and, like, the most interesting part comes with, like, optimizing it, because then you actually get to use the high road. Sometimes the, I guess this is in beta, so it makes sense, but sometimes the checkpoints break on this map. I've done worse. Oh, Christ, this one. This one's gonna take a while. This is, I think, just a huge chunk from Half-Life 2. I've never actually played Half-Life 2, but this strikes me as either, like, a section ripped directly from the game or made in the style of that game. And I need to, after I do this, I need to show off the record, because the record is hilarious. But I don't know. To be frank, I have no idea where I'm going. So we're just gonna wander around and look for stuff. This almost makes me wonder, like, an open exploration game with a device like this would be awesome. Like, imagine... I almost picture something like Ratchet and Clank. Like second-person, like, over-the-shoulder shooter that has movement tech like this. Okay, I'm going the wrong way. And you just get to wander around the vast expanse and see what's what. Okay, there we go. This is where I'm supposed to go. I'm gonna follow my ghost, because my ghost also has no idea where they're going, but they eventually find their path. The thing that I've kind of noticed about a lot of modern games is that it almost feels like modern games, especially modern FPSs, are scared of speed tech. It's like there's this weird assumption that, like, if the game doesn't have fun movement at a baseline, then that's a problem. And speed tech that it just, like, evolves naturally because of the weird way the physics engine works is seen as a bug. And maybe I just haven't played enough good modern FPSs, because I've heard that Ultra Kill is fantastic for that. It's just breakneck speed, good movement tech. But it's, to my understanding, it's designed by, like... Okay, I'm in the wrong spot here. Getting out of this house is going to be obnoxious. There we go. I know that Hikita is a very competent dev, as is, like, the whole Ultra Kill dev team. And I know that a lot of them are, like, old money... I don't want to say boomer shooter enjoyers, but, like, that's always kind of the vibe that I got. If they got Gianni Matragrano to voice Gabriel, then, like, surely they are plugged into that sphere. Because that's where Gianni's bread is buttered. I gotta play Ultra Kill at some point. It has such an air of silliness that I really vibe with. Because it's almost... I can't even say it reminds me of Doom. It reminds me of, like, a Doom WAD more than an actual Doom game. Where it has, like, the super over-the-top, like, rusty blood art style, but with a certain silliness that the Doom games didn't have. Because I've played Doom and Doom 2. Haven't fucked around too much with the Doom, like, what's even the word for those? Like, Plutonia Experiment and, TNT Evolution. Level packs, I guess? Yeah, level packs. Haven't messed around with them too much. Part of the reason for that is that, like, my pain tolerance capped out near the end of both Vanilla Doom and Vanilla Doom 2, so I feel like Plutonia would just be miserable for me. Because there was, like, near the end of Doom 2, I was kind of just trying it for, like, a solid hour, and then no clipping to the end, and then rinse and repeat. But I was just not having fun. And maybe, maybe I was just doing something wrong. Maybe there's some magic way that I can enjoy Doom a little bit more. maybe the solution is just to go fast and do, like, stick close to what the developer intended with, like, speedy strategies that were thought of by the devs and how, like, players would navigate it. This map is where speed shots hit like crack on this map. Because there's so much ground to cover. And again, the concept of an open world game with rocket jumping would be like one of my favorite games of all time, I think. Because Half-Life 2 seems like it is awesome, but I've played Gary's mod. I know what the RPG launcher does in Half-Life 2, and it is not. It's such a step down from the Quake one. Hell, it's a step down from the TF2 one. It is good for taking down the hunter choppers, though, so, you know, fits for what it is meant to be doing in the context of the story, but I want ridiculous movement tech, man. It's part of the reason why I'm excited to, now that they have casual mode, I've been thinking about breaking into Deadlock. And when I was initially playing, the character I played the most was Viscous, who has... Viscous has a, Viscous is a goo guy. They're awesome. And one of their abilities is Puddle Punch, and it just brings up this massive punch of goo out of the ground. Oh, I meant to take that exit. Ugh! And Puddle Punch is awesome because not only does it do a sizable amount of damage, I believe it synergizes with any of the melee items that you pick up, so it can get like lifesteal or extra damage, or there's like I think it's Spirit Strike is the name of the effect that it gives you, like it increases magic damage against enemies that are hit by it for a short time. But it's also a movement ability, because it has a cone of knockback. So, one of the most interesting things about the character is that Deadlock has a really good innate movement kit. Like, you can sprint, you can dash, you can, or not dash, rather, you can double jump. And you can slide, and if you combo that with an actual movement ability, you can shoot around the map in ways that are only scarcely intentional. Okay. 748. I need to show you the record for this map. It's crazy. Please. I can show it later, but it's so cool. Nah. I have been optimizing my records quite a bit. My Rainbow Road time is now significantly better. And I think it's as good as I'm gonna get it. Nice. Oh, I see. Hmm. This is an annoying jump. Like here? I can't really aim further down than that. There we go. But yeah, I'm starting to realize that I have a fear of being perceived, which is weird because, you know, the fact that this channel exists, but I feel like that's almost part of the reason why I did this channel in the first place, was to try and kick that habit of being scared about how others would perceive me. And part of the issue with that is just because I have a heaping helping of social anxiety. Or, I can't even tell if it's social anxiety at this point, I'm not entirely sure. It is... Anyone who has anxiety... Damn it. Anyone who has anxiety can probably, like, empathize with this, but... It's not exactly, like, social situations, but, like, situations that I know have consequence, I think is the best way to describe it. So, like, airports, or, like, the DMV, or, stuff related to, like, health insurance. Oops. There's just this... Hang on, where do I rocket off of? Is this just... Oh, wait. It's one of these. I keep falling off. This is an obnoxious jump. There we go. And now, one more sink for the road. Hell yeah, hell yeah. Oh, good lord. That is a crazy sink. That was a crazy pogo, oh my god. I mean, you probably have to wall pogo all the way up. Let's see if those are... It'll take a second for it to hit the wall, but I wonder if those are rocket surfaces. No, interesting. I wonder how you get across then. Hang on, let's see if... That lands. Yes, there we go. I take a big sip of my sweet tea and watch the fireworks, because, oh my god. So the trick here is that, they actually go out of bounds at a certain point. I think it's coming up. It's like they're looking for a very specific spot on the map. That speed shot, oh my god. It looks so... Speed shots just work so well. Oh, that's awesome. Because remember, this is 2.5 minutes, so like there are going to be shenanigans afoot. There's parts of the map that I didn't even see. And then ducking in here. Over 3 minutes of difference. God, it's so cool. And the perfect speed control. And the crazy thing is, like, that they fumbled there. This run could be, like, an extra, like, 10 to 15 seconds faster if everything is done absolutely perfectly. That's the thing that's so enticing and also so dangerous about speedruns, is, like, the upper limit is wherever you decide to stop grinding. Like, part of the reason why time trials are so addictive... Oh, yes, here we go. The triple sync, that's just showing off. Like, gliding around that whole outer ring, going completely out of bounds. and then ducking back in, and there's the exit. That's so cool. Upward. Okay, this is awesome. This is just PL Upward from TF2. And I'm not going to be able to hit that 30-second record here. Yeah, because look at me just go. Oop. I'm going to shoot off in a second. Yeah, there I go. Way up there. There is a trick. I think it's like... Is it over here? Let me pull up the record attempt for this one. There's a gimmick with this. So they hit the checkpoint. 3, 4, and then they backtrack and just ding there. So I wonder if I could do that. Oh my god. But yeah, I never finished my train of thought before. Anxiety is fucking weird. Anxiety, it's almost like... I feel like a deer. I get the sensation, like, almost like I'm a prey animal. And something has gone wrong. Oh, okay. I'm a prey animal and something has gone wrong. Huh. I wonder. Oh, they must have... Okay, they must have fixed it. Because I don't see any red box that would be indicative of the end of the map there. So that must have been patched or something? I mean, this is a beta map, so it's very possible that there was a bug that people messed with, and now that bug is gone. But yeah, I almost feel like a deer. Like, there's some high-anxiety situation, and I just get... How to even describe it? It's almost like I turn into a different person. Like, I get the feeling of butterflies in my stomach, and then, like, top priority from there is to get out of the situation as fast as possible. And not necessarily in, like, an uncomfortable way, but in a way of, like... I mean, stress, right? It's like you get the sensation of something is wrong. Fix it, fix it, fix it, fix it, fix it. It's so bizarre. And I always kind of ascribed it to being social anxiety, but I don't actually know if that's the case. It might be more general anxiety. And... I don't know. Maybe it is. Maybe it is just social, because all of those things that cause that butterfly sensation are social outings, in a sense. It's all, like, talking with strangers, or, like, doing things. It's almost, like, I almost feel like the power imbalance has some effect on it. Like, the fact that there's... Like, the common thread between a lot of those situations is that there's someone who doesn't necessarily know me, and also has a lot more authority in the situation than I do. Between, like, the tax commissioner's office, or, like, the airport, stuff like that. Also, I need to show the best for this one, because this is under 10 seconds. This is insane. I'm surprised they stay in bounds, but I think it's a TF2 map, so the bounds in the map are probably pretty strictly pretty strictly designed. God knows people have searched, and there's a lot of, even in modern TF2, there's a lot of like weird misalignments and stuff up in the corners of maps. Wouldn't be super useful for this, but for like other methods of tomfoolery, like placing sentries out of bounds or like sitting in weird places as sniper. You got a lot of options there. Oop. I just have to do the walk of shame all the way through. Oh, god, that speed shot. I almost saved time there. That was crazy. And then let's do the bonus. Let's do the Vatican Rag. Woohoo! I like the way that these are organized. Huh? I think there's a physics object over there. Oop. There we go. Whoa, cool. Oh, that would have been a glorious speed shot if I had actually hit that. So it's a dangerous aspiration. Because now I'm gonna be throwing myself at walls and like hoping that I hit a speed shot, because if I do hit it, it is technically faster. But yeah, I mean, work has been pretty good recently. Lots of the one downside is a lot of communication with other teams who have very different styles of schedule than we do. Because the thing that I'm starting to realize is that the series that I'm working in, because I'm working in like the southeast sector of the company, and I am kind of the only data science person in the entire office, maybe the entire series. I kind of doubt the series, but like the office, absolutely. I'm the only one that knows how Python works. I'm one of the only people that's like fairly competent at Excel. That sounds like a flex, but it's my personal hell because the year is 2026. If you are like a budding risk management major who is looking for a job and you don't know how to do something, you ask AI to do it for you. And me, the computer scientist in the room, is like scrambling, screaming to have people do literally anything else. Because like, oh boy, here I go talking about AI again. Here's the thing. I am completely fine with how to even best describe this. The analogy that I would use is like the looking at the answer key for a practice test. On paper, there is nothing wrong with looking at the answer key, even before you're done with the practice test. Like if you're kind of just like double dealing and checking your answers as you go along, or like maybe you're stumped on a question, so you look at the answer key to see how they did it. That's completely fine. What I don't want is for people to just read off of the answer key, because then you're not learning anything. It's a very, very similar thing with LLMs for me. I have no issue with using it, like, kind of innocuously because there's something that you've just been banging your head against a wall for hours and it's not working, and you don't know why, and you just need any kind of a solution so you can go home and, like, go make dinner. Not to say that anxiety and trauma necessarily need to be part of when you call upon an LLM, but, like, you need to give it a college try first. That's the main thing that bugs me, is the fact that it's being used as a replacement for critical thinking. Which, you know, leads to a whole bunch of other issues, leads to techno-fascism, leads to heavy reliance upon a third-party cloud computing company that will use that against you. Ideally, Ideally, you should not be turning common sense into a product, right? Because that is, I mean, it's very, very, very easy to have situations with abuse of power if you can just flip a switch and people will lose the ability to have common sense because they're over-reliant on your technology that you have full control over. And part of that is me being, like, over-paranoid, but, you know, the other part is, like, I've seen people at my job. And I've seen people just in and around. I mentioned I went to the tax commissioner's office. I overheard someone as I was waiting in line, and to be frank, I did not navigate it exceptionally well. I, like, parked kind of shoddily, and the security guard came out. I was like, hey, move your car, it's kind of it's not parked very well. But I came in and did everything that I needed to do, and, like, asked questions if I needed to, and I overheard someone at the other end of the room saying, oh, well, AI said blah, 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 blah. Talking to the person working at the tax commissioner's office as if the AI was somehow more reliable than she was. And that, like, made my blood boil a little bit. It's like, where did all the people go? And maybe this is just my generation, specifically. Like, hyper-specific block of, like, 3 or 4 years. Whatever happened to the idea of what constitutes a primary source? Because I remember very distinctly in 2nd grade, I had a teacher who was not a nice woman. There were a lot of situations where even as, like, a 2nd grader, I could tell that she was just being a prick. But the main thing I remember from her class is she made a point of telling us not to use Wikipedia as a primary source. And she would, like, she went out of her way, like, taught us about, like, oh, writing papers, you know, it's like, freaking, it's 4th grade, so it's, like, barely papers. It's like, you write a couple of paragraphs, and as long as it's coherent, you get a good grade. But she made a point of, hey, don't use Wikipedia, because anyone can edit it. It is not good practice to use that as a primary source. Ooh, geez, this is a difficult jump. And, like, where did that sentiment feels like it's evaporated. And, like, it seemingly evaporated overnight, and now there is zero accountability in research because everyone is affixed to AI and LLMs as this beautiful font of information that is never wrong except when it is very wrong. And it's like, you know, nuance exists, and it is an information aggregator. That information can be poisoned or diluted by either bad sources or, like, some other accidental or intentional foul play. But, like, the bottom line is you do your due diligence and you just look for other sources. And a lot of AI models, like, I think of Google AI mode specifically, cite their sources inside the overview. Just check those sources to see where they're coming from. And if you're using an AI, like a model that doesn't cite sources, go look for primary sources. I guarantee for a lot of them you could just, oh wow. I didn't even notice they had these. They have like, cool. This one I might finish. We'll see. This is a hard one. I'm gonna give it a college try, and if I don't make it in a reasonable period of time, we can just move on. But like, you know, with a lot of models, you could probably just ask it to give you a list of sources and then go read those sources and see, like, if they match up, and if they don't match up, why. Like, there's a certain level of due diligence that is just kind of lost, which is unfortunate. Because that is a prime way to stop these kinds of, like, you know, an LLM told a woman in Michigan to go eat rocks, and then she ate rocks. I don't know. It's just this is something that I stew about constantly because I'm constantly having to like play cognitive dissonance against the like tech, the CTO of the company that I work at. And for what it's worth, the CTO is not really the issue, because it seems like he kind of knows what he's doing. And so there was a big company-wide meetup a couple weeks ago, and they brought up the CTO to talk about, like, you know, the future, the history of tech at the company. Like, they're launching like a big like information platform, I think like yesterday or today. And they brought him up, and he's, you know, like, you know, what does this mean for the future of the company, leveraging AI? And he kind of just sat there and was like, yeah, no, we're really proud of what we've been working on. And his ask wasn't to use AI in your daily lives. His ask was, hey, we have this platform that we've been developing for months now. Please, like, use it, because if you use it, we get to have feedback, and we really need feedback if we want this thing to work well. The contrast between the CTO, who was very, like, level-headed about it all, and oh god, what is he? He's another C-suite guy, COO, I think. Going full, like, gung-ho LinkedIn pill. Everything must be the future of technology. If you're either with us or you're behind us kind of mentality. And I imagine part of that is also because the company that I work at has an organizational plan with Microsoft, and they are probably pressuring the companies that have enterprise plans like hell to use AI as much as possible. The options are basically either use AI in your daily workflow, or we jack up our rates on the enterprise plan. And I feel like most companies are just going to say, screw it, we'll do that. It's not worth the headache. It's not worth the headache. It's not worth opening up your wallet to make a point. Unless you're like a cybersecurity company, or you have a vested interest in like some other speculative tech thing that isn't specifically LLM based. And, you know, current year, good luck finding that. I just realized 11 is usually where I get stuck. We're actually making good time here. Ah. Oh, cool. Okay, how do I start this one even? There we go. And then I assume it's a speed pogo up to a ramp? That it is, cool. Oh god, that is a brutal one. Are these rocketable? These are. I wonder if I'd be able to like ricochet off of one of those walls at the end. Oh, come on. I need to hit like the very tip of the chevron there. And yes, I did just call it a chevron. This is not enough speed. Nah. It's tricky, because, like, if I don't build up enough speed... Oh! Hey! Mazel tov! Okay, 103rd place. I will take that. Are there any others? Any other, like, interesting ones? I don't know. Blueberry is a good map. Airships. I could do the first half of Airships. The first half of Airships is really fun, and then the second half is, like, very bog-standard rocket jump map, and it is not really my thing. This one, I think, was like a tier 3 or a tier 4, so the jumps are tough. But the first section has, like, enough flair that I don't mind it. I also gotta show off Spaghetti. Wait, after this... Spaghetti is also a Sidhu map, and it is really funny. Actually, I really like Spaghetti. I think I mentioned it last time, but it is basically jump home but funny. I think is the best way to describe it. There's a lot of very interesting things. But yeah, in other news, I've been thinking about self-hosting a website recently, which that will be fun once it gets off the ground. Now that I have a sustainable source of income, I'm just gonna look the other way because the visual effect over there is like flashing lights and it's really distressing to look at. Now that I have a sustainable source of income, I could absolutely foot the bill of, like, leasing a website domain, and then just going nuts with it. I know enough HTML to get started, and then, like, I could pad out the rest of my HTML knowledge with, like, you know, tutorials and the internet. The internet is, in fact, there and, you know, runs on HTML, so it shouldn't be that hard to learn. This is a sink, right? It is a sink. Oh wait, do I jump? I do jump. Okay. No! Angling that is kind of tricky. Yeah. Damn. But I have ideas for, like, a lot of tutorials that I would want to make. In particular, this is an idea I've been, like, bouncing around for a while. I feel like it would be extremely funny to do a tutorial of a Microsoft product. So, there is a product that I use for work quite a lot, called Microsoft Power Automate. And it is not great. Like, Power Automate kind of has a reputation for being very unruly. Let's go with that. The main trouble is that it is very obviously not been updated in a while, and rather than update it, what they ended up doing they've made like very small changes over a long period of time. Most of the big changes happened when it got rolled into Microsoft's Power platform with Power. I think it's Power BI, which is basically just Microsoft's version of Tableau, and then Power Apps, which no one uses. But Power Automate is a workflow automation software. In normal person speak, it listens for stuff. It listens for triggers from other Microsoft services, and then you can kind of like do all sorts of wacky things from there. So like, for instance, you can listen for an email, and then once you get an email, you can like pull something out of the subject line of that email, populate a list, and like host that list on Microsoft Teams, or like, you know, in a list that is not meant for business. There's all manner of things that you can do. And even if you have I think if you have a premium account, or if you just use a different workflow automation thing that isn't by Microsoft, then you can also hook into like REST APIs, and like there's so many like cool things that you can do. But the trouble is that there's no competent tutorials online. I have looked, and there is like, I would wager like 5 or 6 blogs that have like really good Power Automate tutorials, and half of them are paywalled. Because, you know, it's an enterprise business thing, which means that that space is full of go-getters. Where I would come in is that I am not a go-getter. And also there's a lot of very genuinely quite cool things you can do with workflow automation. So I feel like it could be interesting to do either a tutorial with Power Automate or a tutorial with one of those other like open source alternatives that I do not remember the name of, but they are there. Because a big distinction is that there are actually 2 versions of Power Automate. There's the cloud version, which is the one that I use for my job, and there's the desktop version. They're actually pretty significantly different, which is weird because it's a Microsoft product. Usually that doesn't happen. Usually they try their damnedest to make like the web version and the app version as close to identical as they can get. This is, I think, where I stopped last time I did this, because this jump is really irritating because it's a sync. Ah. Yeah, I'm fine. Let's find spaghetti. Where is spaghetti around here? Spaghetti. Yes. This will be the last one, I think. I'm a truck driver. Broom, broom. And the only thing that slightly holds me back is that idea of like, you know, it doesn't really fit for the channel. I kind of gave up on that logic a long time ago. So, may as well own it. This is a channel for whatever insane nonsense I think of that I think would either be cool or funny, or both. So, yeah, you know, regular expression tutorials. that fits the channel in a weird kind of way. In the sense that it is something weird and funny that I would love to teach other people about. Because the thing with regular expressions that will make it interesting is that, like, there are a lot of really, really, really good sources for learning regular expressions. The trouble is just most of them are pretty old, and also a lot of them are text only, which usually that's a good thing. I cannot tell you how many tech problems I've had to like grapple with that are even harder to solve because there's no non-video tutorials. But this is one of those rare cases where I feel like it would be more palatable as video. And just have, like, text elements. This is something where I feel like web hosting would go so far. Because this is something, I almost think of Homestuck. Like, there's a certain level of creative freedom you have by self-hosting a website and just putting whatever you want on it. Empty fridge. Where am I going with this? Hang on. Do I keep missing the gap or something? I am missing the gap. It's down there. Shout out to Exile. Sample text. There is a very specific reason why I'm reading out the text on this, and you'll see. Not everyone can digest spaghetti because of its gluten content. Dynamic spoon. Oh, I see. I think I need to sync this? No, one rocket does it. Cool. Super hard jump. Ah. Oh. Nailed it. Heavy beef. Horse crap. This jump I remember being annoying. By the way, I'm up 2 minutes I'm up 2 minutes off of my PB. This jump is probably not going to help with that, but assuming I get past this jump in reasonable time, that's pretty awesome. Damn it. This is a hard jump. Oh, I dinked the ceiling. Did I hit the ceiling again? I messed up the spacing on that, but all the same. Damn it. Yeah, the spacing on this jump is killing me. There we go. Quality. What is what is going on with this picture? Jamie Oliver's spaghetti recipe. Oh boy. Put a casserole pan on medium heat, add a splash of olive oil, then cook the bacon, rosemary, garlic, and onion for about... Okay, I'm not gonna be able to read all that. But you probably can. I just have to hope to God that I have enough wingspan on my mouse to do this. Done! Cool. I like that jump a lot. Just the fear grips you as you realize how... Oh, yeah, this. The fear grips you as you realize how ridiculous the jump is. Ow, final. Oh, this is, oh god, what map is this? Jump Above? This is another Sidud map. cool gimmick. Yeah, there we go. ROTW right now, 111. What does that mean? Hell yeah. Inspired by Jump Turnip. I've actually never heard of Jump Turnip. And there is a secret here. It's not a secret that I'm going to be able to do. This is a rocket jump tech that I am not super keen on, mostly because I have no idea how to do it consistently. This is a C-tap. So effectively, source spaghetti aside, how this works is you duck and then you unduck, and as you're coming back up, you do the jump down, jump and like shoot. And if you time that all perfectly, you get a ton of height. And the trick, I believe, because none of this is rocketable. The trick is you just need to get a running start, C-tap, and then fly all the way across with a perfect C-tap. I cannot do it. This is a very, very hard jump. So I am content to just NOS, if that's alright with y'all. But yeah. That'll probably be it for Momentum Mod unless something really strikes me. But hey, this has been fun. I had a lot of... I got a lot of joy out of this. Onwards and upwards to, whatever the hell strikes my fancy next, I guess. But yeah, that's all I got for now. Thanks so much for watching, y'all.